Hey, good morning, guys. Hope everybody's doing well this morning and enjoying this beautiful April morning, depending upon where you're at. It's really beautiful here in Missouri right now. It's supposed to be like at 70 degrees this weekend, and getting ready to head out Monday for the Grand Lake Toyota Series tournament. I've been working on tackle and everything, and today I want to go over my my top three favorite April spinnerbait setups. You know, how I set them up, how I fish them, type of conditions I'm looking for in April, and sort of show you what, I have developed three of my own personal favorites over the year, and I'll share this with you guys. So one quick thing before we get started here. This coming Thursday, or excuse me, the 15th, in 2 weeks, Johnny and I have our next virtual online seminar with fishthemoment.com. We're going to do post-spawn patterns of bass fishing in the seminar from 6 o'clock to 9 p.m. on the 15th. Johnny's going to cover all the offshore post-spawn deal. I'm going to cover all the shallow water post-spawn techniques, everything that goes along with it. So you guys can sign up with that at fishthemoment.com. Much appreciated. And also, one final thing, I think we hit 29,000 subscribers today. Looks like we'll probably get 30,000 definitely within the next week or sooner. So if you guys would like to sign up for the drawing that we're going to do for a free pair of Randy Blockett Signature Series Silverback sunglasses and a supply of Bridgeford beef jerky, just go subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and maybe win the glasses. So anyway, much appreciated with that. So guys, let's talk about my three favorite spinnerbait setups for April. April is a great month to spinnerbait fish, depending upon the type of lake that you're fishing. Some lakes are more conducive to April spinnerbait fishing than others. A lot of it depends on the stage of the spawn that the fish are in. A lot of it depends on the water clarity, how the lake's laid out. But I've never fished a lake in the country where there wasn't, some type of a good spinnerbait bite in April. And this is the time of year that you can win on spinnerbaits. Spinnerbaits, like anything else, they have a window of when they really produce a quality fish. And for me, the late March into April is the time to fish them. So anyway, I'm going to run through my three favorite spinnerbait setups, when I look for them, how I fish them, all that type of stuff. And I'll start out with the early April, because water temperature has a big key in the spinnerbait setup and the size and the blade configuration. So my first one that I'm going to go to is a 3/4 ounce it's a single Colorado willow leaf with a number 7 gold willow leaf blade. This is a 3/4 ounce head here. So, and I'll talk a little bit about the bait first. One of the reasons that you want the 3/4 ounce or even the 1 ounce head is when you're using a big number 7 blade like this, it lifts the bait a lot. So if you're wanting to slow roll this bait, down like a 45-degree angle bank, the 3/4 ounce will allow you to effectively slow roll that bait down without just having to, reel the bait at a snail's pace to do so. So the 3/4 ounce head or the 1 ounce, I use the 1 ounce if it's like really windy, or if it's like, I'm wanting to get the bait a little bit deeper, but most of the time I like the 3/4. Anytime that water temperature, like in early April, like right now, if you've got water temperatures in that mid 50-degree range, really low 50s to upper 50s is when this bait shines. And when you have water clarities, and this is another key with it, water clarities of between, like, say 3 feet to 5 feet, that's when the big willow leaf heavy spinnerbait setup really works good. I'll fish this bait most of the time on a flipping stick. I've experimented with a lot of different rods, but when I'm using a big thumping number 7 willow leaf 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce, I find that a flipping stick is the most effective rod to throw it on. 25-pound test Seaguar and Vizex line. Another thing about a flipping stick is if I get around a dock or a lay down piece of wood or object like that, I can flip the bait just like a jig and make those real accurate short casts by pitching and flipping a spinnerbait with the flipping stick. And then when you get one, you're reeling this bait slow anyway, so it's not like you have to have the give on the rod tip, and you get those fish on the spinnerbait and you can get them to the bait real quick. But what I'm looking for this is when I'm fishing these big spinnerbaits in that water clarity that I just talked about, I'm looking for the steeper banks. I'm looking for banks that are like 45-degree angles or steeper, that type of a thing. Throwing the bait up there against the bank, you know, and just barely reeling it, just about like that, you know, stop and go, you know, let it fall a little bit. I'm trying to keep the bait, you know, within like a foot or two of the bottom, regardless if I'm fishing 3 foot of water or 10 foot of water. And also you're going to find out with all these applications that spinner baits will always work better in April if you have a windy day or, you know, a little bit abnormally warm day under a variety of sky conditions. Although I like a sort of a partly cloudy to cloudy. If I had to pick my ideal situation for this spinnerbait here, it would be water temperatures in the mid 50s, water visibility about 3 feet, wind blowing 20 miles an hour out of the south, and that's just when this one works really good. Now this next one I'm going to show you is pretty similar. It's the same setup. You got the same 3/4 ounce head on it, but I've got a number 7 Colorado blade single on this. And this is my second favorite April setup. Here's the difference of the two. You can see same bait, just a different blade on there. The time that I use the Colorado blade on there, and I'll use anywhere between a number 6 to a number 8, just depending upon the situation. I'm using this if I've got less than like 2 foot of visibility, or 2.5 foot of visibility or less. This thumper blade, it really pushes a lot of water, vibrates really hard, thumps really hard. And when you're talking about, again, in early April, when that water temperature is cooler, in the low to mid 50s, and you've got dirty water, anywhere between 6 inches of visibility up to 2 foot, 2.5 feet, this big thumper blade will really attract a lot of big fish. I mean, this is a setup right here that you don't see a lot of pros talking about because they sort of try to keep it secret. But I'm telling you guys, the first part of April, like we're in right now, if the water temperature in some of the lakes that you guys are fishing, you know, like I said, are in the low to mid 50s, and you've got that dirtier water, this is a big deal right here. I'll fish these on the same type of banks, but I'll also fish this bait around shallow cover. If you got flat spawning type banks with dirty water that you have lay down wood, stumps, dock, that type of stuff, you can just sort of barely fish this thing just under the surface, not really waking it, but just fishing it just like an inch or two under the surface around shallow wood on flat banks, and those big ones will hammer it. This is also one of my favorite setups during the post spawn for slow rolling over deep grass beds. So that's an awesome one there. So the final one I'm going to talk about, my third one, this spinnerbait setup is more later in April when the fish get closer to the spawn, or maybe if they've just spawned, like, you know, mid to late April, this type of setup. And this is a smaller version. This is a Megabass SV3 spinnerbait, and this is a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait. It's got 2 small willow leaf blades, one's a 3, one's a 4 on there, 1/2 ounce skirt, smaller profile spinnerbait like that. So this particular one, once you find, what are you doing there? You up this morning? You gonna say hi to everybody real quick?
Yeah, hi everybody. I just eaten pizza.
Okay. Kim and I went out to a birthday party last night and got the boys pizza, and they're having some leftover this morning. But anyway, when these fish get closer to the spawn and that water temperature is up around 60 degrees or a little warmer, and those fish they're not using those steeper 45-degree angle banks very much. They're more on the spawning banks, the flatter banks. That's when I go to the SV3 spinnerbait, 1/2 ounce, smaller profile, and I'm fishing this bait around any type of targets in the water visibility that's less than 3 feet. If you've got over 3 foot of visibility, spinnerbait is just not a very good option in mid to late April. They sort of get off it. But if you're fishing a body of water, say for example like Lakeview Fall in Alabama, where those fish are spawning on those flatter shallow banks, and the water visibility is say 6 inches to 2 foot, this little SV3 spinnerbait, the smaller one, will really catch them good on that. But anyway, that's my 3 favorite. To be honest with you guys, you know, as I start getting away from the spinnerbaits, as that water temperature approaches 60 degrees, although if I am fishing a dirty water poundman, I'll go to that smaller spinnerbait sometimes, because sometimes a small spinnerbait is a real good way to catch fish when they're right around that time to bed, you know, if the water's dirty. But my favorite, guys, are these 2 big ones, man. This is something, I go big or small most of the time on my spinnerbaits. Right now, we're right in the heart of it right now. Water temperature across the country in a lot of lakes are in the mid to upper 50s. If you get the right type of day, these big spinnerbaits are going to really work good, and they really work good in this part of the country too. So anyway, give them a try. Like I said, if there's any time of year that you got a chance to win a tournament or catch a big bag of fish or a big bass, it's right now on these spinnerbaits until that water temperature gets up to 60 degrees. So, and we'll go into, I'll go into like skirt colors and that type of stuff later. So anyway, we'll see you guys later. See you.